What is chronic fatigue? I've been asked this question a few times now, so I thought I'd make a video about it. I'm going to be talking about what it is, what the symptoms are, and what you can do to... Sorry, my mind's just gone blank. And what you can do to plan your life around it so it's not as daunting. So, chronic fatigue is a common symptom after brain injury, especially in a traumatic brain injury, which is what I had. Everyone deals with it differently, everyone has it for different periods of time. When I came out of hospital a few months after, I was told if you don't have it after 2 years, it will go away, but if you still have it after 2 years, you'll have it the rest of your life. So that was pretty depressing. Moving on. The symptoms include forgetting what you're talking about, stopping mid-sentence, forgetting words when you're having a conversation. Also, like, if it's a bad day, you just, like, forget how to talk completely. Like, you'll think of a word, your mind will go blank, you're trying to explain something to someone and you forget the simplest words, or you just don't have the physical energy to, like, speak. The next symptom is muscle ache, and your body feels like it's made out of rocks. So for example, if you were sat on a sofa and you needed to get up to go for a nap, like, that would be hard work because it just feels like a massive weight on your shoulders and basically your whole body. And then once you do get up, it's like massive effort to go up the stairs to bed to nap. And you fall asleep like really fast. Well, I do anyway, like within like a few seconds or a minute, depending on how tired I am. The next symptom I probably shouldn't have done this when I had a long day, to be honest. Yeah, the next symptom is if you're around people and noises. Obviously after brain injury you have noise sensitivity as well, but when you've like really fatigued, everything is a lot harder to like hear, and it's a lot harder to talk because of it, and it just feels like all the noises are screaming in your head. I've had this problem a few times because I used to do craft fairs, like selling my artwork and stuff. And obviously they would start at 9 o'clock and finish at 5 PM, and I would need a lunch break and a break genuinely. So Stephen would come and help me, and I'd go for my lunch break and have a break at like 12. But these were in Newcastle, and like basically a massive city, and there was nowhere to go for peace. So I would just go back and I wouldn't be able to have any rest. I would just feel exactly the same, or like probably worse. Because it's really bad. Like for example, I would go to Greg's and just standing in the queue would be so much work. Like I would just think, I need to be in bed now. How am I going to carry on this day? I'm in the middle of Newcastle. Even if I needed to go home, I would have to pack up first, which, you know, make everything worse. So yeah. Another symptom is having like 8 or 9 hours sleep, waking up feeling like you've had like 2 or 3. You're just so exhausted, so even half an hour sleep would help so much more. Like, people don't think it would, but like with me it does. Another thing about chronic fatigue is no matter how much you plan your life around it, it can just hit you like a brick wall. You can plan your whole day, your whole week, and something will happen, or nothing sometimes, and it will just stop your day completely, and that's quite frustrating to live with, because you feel like you feel like you're sorting out and you're getting on with it, and then it will just hit you like that, and yeah, that's really hard. Sometimes it's when you've done nothing at all and you just feel shattered. Like, you can spend the day doing like literally nothing, like sitting on the sofa watching telly or like nothing, and you just feel like you've had like 2 days in a row doing everything. Another symptom is headaches. I do get them with my brain injury obviously, but when you're really fatigued, you get really dull aches. It's not a migraine because they're not sharp, it just feels like someone's squishing your head together. Like, it's just, it's, I can't really describe it, it just feels like someone's squishing you, and like the pressure is waiting for your head to pop, basically. If, for example, if you're laying down and someone puts your head on, like, their foot on your head and just like keeps pushing, I guess. Another symptom for me, because I fractured my jaw with my injury as well, is like if I'm really tired and I yawn, my jaw will have really bad stabbing pains after I finish yawning. So I think that's just because me personally, because of my fractured jaw. That doesn't happen that often. That only happens if I'm like really, really tired, like not able to nap and everything's just going horribly. It's only happened like 4 times probably. Another symptom is obviously mental as well as physical. So reading, you can't read when you're fatigued, obviously. Oh my god, even watching like a simple television show, like you just can't concentrate on the words, it all molds into one. So yeah, sometimes you're watching like a show for like an hour and then half an hour in it'll just hit you, because obviously you might not know you're tired because you're paying attention to the telly, but paying attention to the telly show can make you feel like, if you're fatigued, it's like a lot of concentration, and concentrating with chronic fatigue can make your chronic fatigue come faster, especially if it's something new you've got to learn. Yeah, and just simple things like making a phone call or making a phone call, writing emails, stuff that you wouldn't normally do in your everyday life makes your chronic fatigue, the symptoms come faster, and it makes you feel tired faster. Stress can make chronic fatigue come faster as well. Especially for me, like emotionally, like if I cry, I'm just shattered. I've got to like sleep, have a nap. Getting angry makes your fatigue come as well. Yeah. I think I've covered everything. I haven't written a script for this video, so it's just like random. I might miss something out, I don't know. Probably. The next part, I'm going to talk about how to plan your life around fatigue. So, when I came out of hospital, I had no idea that I would have any of these symptoms, let alone chronic fatigue, like memory problems, noise sensitivity, like just so many problems. Like, because my accident was in York, I was transferred to Hull, and then I was sent home really straight away. So I think they've just kind of like forgotten about me. I don't know. So my accident was in February 2013, and I only found out that I had chronic fatigue in October 2013. So I was doing things that I did before, and mistakes would happen, and I would be getting angry because I was like, well, why am I not able to do things that I could do before? Like, I had no explanation of what was happening to me, and it was just a long time of just mistakes, feeling tired, but I didn't know I was tired, if you know what I mean. Like, I would be speaking and not knowing that I was stuttering my words. I'm going to show you the paper I got when I left hospital, because it's a bit pathetic, to be honest. So, after brain surgery, obviously you have noise sensitivity, memory problems, chronic fatigue, headaches, and when I left hospital, I got an A4 sheet of bullet points. First one, no driving. Second one, if you are planning a holiday and will be flying, you must check with your consultant before doing so. Third, take all medication as prescribed. If you are sick or have diarrhea, seek advice from your GP explaining your medication. 4, drinking alcohol may affect your medication. You should ask the doctor if it is safe to drink. 5, observe wound for any leakage or redness. If this occurs, contact your GP. 6, if any new symptoms occur, i.e. blurred vision, limb weakness or fits, seek advice from your GP in the first instance. 7, refrain from excessive physical activity or playing any physical sports unless this has been discussed with your consultant. 7, Sexual intercourse is safe, but pregnancy is not advised. You must see the consultant at outpatients if you are planning pregnancy. That was all I got. It wasn't the greatest reference, to be honest, because, let's face it, like, it's kind of no words. Anyway. So, in October, I was referred to an occupational therapist, and that was when I found out I had chronic fatigue. She was amazing. Like, she was so helpful, and I really appreciate that, because after being alone for like so long with it, to get amazing help made me feel so much better, and I felt like the weight had been lifted. Yeah, so I would talk from my everyday life and things that would happen, and then she would see the signs, like, that was bad, that was bad, that was bad. And obviously I thought like that was a normal thing. So yeah, she said, even, she gave me advice to nap. That was the first time I'd been given advice to nap. I would always like power through, which obviously now I know is like the worst thing to do. So yeah, she said if you feel a nap coming on, if you feel your fatigue coming on, like, take a nap. She taught me what the symptoms are and stuff, so that was really helpful. Nap for an hour, minimum. And if you can't nap for an hour, nap for as long as possible, like even 15 minutes would help. And if you can't nap, like you can't fall asleep, just lay in the dark room with like the windows closed with no sounds. And yeah, so that was really helpful advice. Even now I take naps like a minimum for an hour. Anything less just kind of makes me feel like more groggy and doesn't really help. But saying that, if I'm meeting a friend and I've had a busy day and I can manage 20 minutes, like, so for some reason that it does help. It does help doing that than not doing anything at all. So after I was discharged from her, I had my tools, what she taught me, and I was learning myself what my body could handle and what it couldn't handle. So that was a good learning curve, like learning about my body and my injury, and I was just glad to know what was going on. Recently I've been seeing my psychologist, and he told me to keep a fatigue diary. So I would write down when I got about my day, and I would write down if I got like fatigued, and I would highlight every time I napped. I did this for a few months, but I didn't think it was helping, so I stopped. Maybe that was bad. Maybe, yeah. And now I've started to take photographs of myself before I have a nap every month. And I'm just checking each month like what the difference is. I don't know why, I'm just kind of curious. Like, Stephen thinks that's probably a bit like depressing, but I'm just curious. Sometimes curiosity gets the best of you when you've got a brain injury, like learning about the surgery and stuff. Like, I read up about mine because I was just so intrigued. Like, my head was open, like, took my skull out, bits of my skull off. Like, I was just amazed. And most people will probably find that disgusting, but I found it amazing, to be honest. Yeah, so I got a bit distracted there. So you can do a fatigue diary if you like, it might help you, because he told me it's so you can recognise what your day is like and what things make you tired. So for that it was helpful. But I think, like, everyone's just different with everything. Like, everyone's different recovering the brain injury. People don't talk about as much as other people, and people recover faster, slower, different techniques for that people do. So the basic things what I do are to prepare my life around fatigue are, so if I'm having a full day tomorrow, I would say I'm going out to town to meet a friend, I would have a rest day, like today. So I would do nothing at all. I would watch telly, I would maybe draw, but I wouldn't do anything too exhausting, because that would mean tomorrow I'd be really bad. And sometimes I make sure I've got a day free after as well, because even though I've rested before, the day of the busy day can make me feel like I haven't the next day. So if you're having like one day, you've got to have like a sandwich, I guess, of rest days between and after. No, not between, sorry, before and after. And if I've had a busy day, but I don't know I'm having a busy day. Say I had to go to the shop, or Stephen's home, we go do stuff like a drive or a walk or stuff like that, shopping or whatever. And we spontaneously decide we want to go see our friends, or they come around to us, I make sure I nap, and that's always like 45 minutes to an hour. So basically, if you know you're going to do something that's going to exhaust you, just make sure you don't exhaust yourself before you do that thing. It can be the same day thing, or it can be the day before thing, or even if, say for example, you're going away for the weekend, just have a few days of just relaxing and just not exhausting yourself. What else? I went through one stage where I would nap every day to see if that would help. So because after my brain injury, I would get tired around 3 p.m. usually, so I would always try and nap with 3, even if I wasn't tired. But I don't think that helped. It might have done at the time, but I don't think it would help me now. As much as chronic fatigue is so frustrating to live with, it has improved since my injury. I kind of think I've stopped improving. I kind of think like this is it for life, but who knows, like anything can happen. Yeah. Chronic fatigue is one of the things that like gets me the most upset about, like after my brain injury. Like I can live with memory problems. I can live with noise sensitivity, but I can't really. That's really annoying. But that doesn't happen as much as chronic fatigue, or it doesn't feel like it happens as much, or it doesn't control my life as much. Having chronic fatigue, your whole life revolves around chronic fatigue. You can't have one day of not thinking about it, because if you do that, you can have a bad day. So that's quite hard. Yeah. This is what happens when you don't write a script. Another thing, not related to chronic fatigue, but recently I've started using noise cancelling headphones, and I feel like that helps noise sensitivity a lot. And also, actually, it does help chronic fatigue, because the noise sensitivity brings on your chronic fatigue symptoms faster. So like they're really good. So I would suggest getting noise cancelling headphones. I was in Newcastle the other day, and it was amazing. It was the quietest Newcastle's ever been. I was in my own little bubble. I didn't come away from Newcastle feeling tired. It was like the first time I'd come away from Newcastle not feeling tired. So they're definitely worth like the investment. So yeah, so I guess I'll give a conclusion now. So plan your life around fatigue as much as you might not want to. Like you kind of have to. If you ignore it, it's just gonna make it worse. Like don't ever try to power through. If that just makes you worse and makes you tired, makes you more frustrated, makes you angrier. Even now, sometimes I get angry because I'm like, I don't need to nap. I'm 26. I'm young. Why should I have to nap? And you can't really help those feelings. Like, they just happen. Like, I think as a part of living with a brain injury, especially because you look healthy as well, and then you say to people, oh, I've got chronic fatigue, and like, oh yeah, I get tired too. I was like, you just want to slap them. So if you know anyone with chronic fatigue, don't shrug it off as laziness. Don't shrug it off as, oh, just being tired. Don't shrug it off as, oh yeah, I get tired too. Or like, just don't insult them. Like, you might not know you're doing it, but you are. You know, just ask them what it's like, or just don't say anything at all if they mention it, or you know, just don't insult people. Because living with it is hard enough, letting people like just call you lazy. So yeah, so plan your life around fatigue. Take regular naps. If you feel your fatigue coming, go have a nap. Don't wait until it's too late, because even now sometimes I do that. Like, I'm giving advice, but I even do some of this stuff. And there's also times where I don't know I'm fatigued, And because I've got used to living with it so much, I don't know. And Stephen recognises my symptoms now, so he'll say to me, like, go take a nap. And sometimes we're like, oh, thanks. And sometimes we're like, what, I'm fine, I don't need a nap. So if people know what you're like with like your symptoms and stuff, like listen to them when they say you need a nap or you need a rest, because they're not having to go at you, they're helping you. Like sometimes it just feel like they might be like patronising you, but they're not, they're just trying to help you. So if you've got the help, take the help. Yeah, so I think that's it for now. Thank you for watching.